pleasure to be with you all. I'm here at Hunter College. I've just finished a presentation with Veterans for Peace and the anti-nuke ship that Veterans for Peace is renovating, called the Golden Rule. And we're here still in Hunter College, which is a pretty derelict, dilapidated college, let me just tell you. So as you look around here, there are a lot of things we need to be spending our money on, and it's not bombs and war, and it's education. So I would like to say a big hello from New York City and the Peace and Planet Conference, where we have about 1,000 people from all over the country and many from Japan who are here with us to continue to challenge the issues of nuclear weapons and nuclear power. Just one second, let me see. That we can challenge the nuclear industry and the nuclear weapons that the United States is still renovating with the 2 new plants that the United States have, one in Kansas City, Missouri, and then the renovation of Oak Ridge, Tennessee also. Here in New York, we are working on a variety of things. I've just attended, and I'll just kind of do a tour de force of some of the things that are happening. Yesterday was a press conference for our initiative of Women Cross the DMZ, which is 30 international women who will be attempting to go from North Korea through the DMZ to South Korea, having press conferences both in Pyongyang and then in Seoul on the issue of reconciliation on the Korean Peninsula. This is a group that is being headed. The 2 co-leaders of it are Gloria Steinem and Nobel Peace Laureate Marie Maguire from Northern Ireland. We'll also have a second Nobel Peace Laureate, Lamé Gobi from Liberia, who will be on that. I'm very honored myself to be able to be a delegate on that, and look forward after we get back to talking with groups around the country about what we were able to hopefully accomplish in terms of dialogue between the nations of North Korea, the nation of South Korea, the United States, and other signatories to what is an armistice, not an end to the Korean War. So we're busy on many fronts, and I know you all in your conference, where we're speaking of international issues of war and peace, and the U.S. involvement on them. When we look toward the militarization of so much of our society and how much money is being spent on military-related items, on war items, and where the United States is still involved in wars in Afghanistan, in Iraq, where we have assassin drones that are killing people in Afghanistan and in Pakistan. The revelation that came out yesterday of the United States drone strike in Pakistan in January that killed 4 people, 2 of whom were hostages. All of this, I don't know if you all saw the picture of the President of the United States on the front page of the New York Times. It was quite a picture with President Obama with his head bowed. I mean, if the chastening of the leadership of our country on the use of these assassin drones, it is coming back to bite them. And I think you could see in the posturing of the President of the United States yesterday over that you know, we as activists really play a role in challenging our senior leadership on these weapon systems, and through the work that many of you all have been doing at that conference. Many of you were with us at Creech Drone Base just a couple of weeks ago, where we challenged the premier drone base of the United States, try to close it down, which we did, both gates for several minutes at least. But as we continue to go to these places and stand there with our bodies and get arrested and get publicity on issues that we think must change in our society, we can see that there will be openings on these things, that indeed the senior leadership of the country is impacted by what we do. So I know that there are so many things that you all are doing, and the demilitarization of our police forces, where these days where we are finding out more and more about the numbers of unarmed civilians that are being killed by our police and the types of weapons that they're using on our own population. I know that several of the mothers whose sons and daughters have been killed as unarmed civilians will be meeting in Washington, D.C. over Mother's Day to remind the country that there are our police in many places are out of control, and giving military weapons to our police forces only exacerbates the situation. So we do have so much that we are working on, and it's through people like you all, the people who take time out of their lives, out of your very busy lives, to help move these issues toward a resolution that we hope makes our country a better place. You know, I was just with Veterans for Peace. We did the workshop on the Golden Rule, this anti-nuclear boat that sailed in the 1950s, sailed to try to go into the Marshall Islands to stop the atmospheric nuclear testing. Their role and the time they spent in jail, and then the outrage that was around the country about these 4 Quakers who had been put in jail for trying to challenge the atmospheric nuclear testing, is so reminiscent of things that are happening now. And the fact that indeed over a period of years the United States did end its atmospheric nuclear testing is a testament to the value of us being creative about what we do, and be willing to put ourselves out there in creative ways to try to get publicity to end these policies that we disagree with. On the issue of veterans, we thank you all so very much for your support for those men and women who did join up with the military and now are suffering greatly from what they did, what they saw, what they participated in. It's important that we help them get over what they've done, and to be able to assist them in telling the stories to young men and women in our country now who might be thinking of joining up with our military. The issue of veteran suicides, the issue of post-traumatic stress that virtually everybody that's been in the military gets in some way, at some level, are things that support from the communities in which our veterans live is so important. And I know you all in Dallas, you've got the Veterans for Peace chapter that's been formed up. You've got IVAW chapters there, Military Families Speak Out, and Code Pink Women for Peace, as other organizations that work with the Houston Peace and Justice Center. So it's a real pleasure to be with you all, to talk with you all about some of the things that are happening here in New York and around the country. I'll just mention that I'm about ready to zip down to catch a taxi, to hop in a cab to go out to Kennedy Airport to catch a flight to through Moscow to Amsterdam. And we'll be there with for the 100th anniversary of the Women's International League for Peace and Justice, Peace and Freedom, WILF. It is their 100th anniversary, and they are having ceremonies that are being held in the Peace Palace in The Hague, the Netherlands. So it's a real honor to be able to go there, and then later on in the middle of the month to join with other women that will be walking across from North Korea through the demilitarized zone and into South Korea for reconciliation on the Korean Peninsula. So with that, I want to thank you all so much for the opportunity to have a few minutes with you, and I wish you the very best for your symposium. Thank you. Yes.
And this is Bob Henshin. here with Bill Crozier and the group. And thank you so much for taking time out of what must be a really exciting and important weekend to share a very informative and inspiring report with us. And of course, you are an inspiration, and we hope to support you in your continued work and get you to Houston to work with you in the near future. Good luck on your travels and in your continued great work for peace. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Aloha.